Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. Now we're on. It's 3 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started with the November meeting of the Knoxville Transportation Authority. The first agenda item is a determination of a quorum. Mr. Lawhorn?
We have 5 members present. That is a quorum.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the October 2024 minutes. Do we have any comments on the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Minutes approved. Next is the reports. KTA Chair first. I don't have any report today. Is there any commissioner comments? We're moving along quick today. I'll turn it over to the staff. Isaac.
I have a couple of things to go over. First of all, wanted to talk about fiscal year 2024 ridership. For many, many months, I've been talking about getting our automatic passenger counter data certified for FTA. That has been completed, and we did surpass 2019 ridership last fiscal year, which runs from July 1st through June 30th of 2024. We provided just over 2.8 million rides. That did surpass 2019 ridership. And then in addition to that, we're also seeing an increase in fiscal year 2024 ridership. As you can see in the report, we're up about 8% over last year. So we are trending in a very good direction. I'm very proud that last year we were able to surpass 2019 ridership, pre-COVID ridership. The other item I want to discuss is our service standards and long-range plan. CAT staff and board have completed, obviously, a very comprehensive planning process to implement CAT Reimagined in August of this year. This process included extensive public engagement to design a network, bus network that aligns better with the community's goals. The next step, which is this service standards and long-range plan, builds on that comprehensive planning process by implementing service standards and our long-range plan for bus service. The purpose of the service standards helps guide decisions by this board and by staff on how to adjust existing service, invest in improving service, and monitoring our current services. Service standards covers, and again, this is just a very high-level overview. Each of you have both the long-range plan and the service standards. I want you guys to review those for the next board meeting. But just to go over the service standards at a high level, it covers the network design principles, summary of the service categories, which includes frequency and coverage, which we discussed a lot with the community and with the board during the CAT Reimagined process, defining features such as frequency, span of service, and bus stop spacing, service quality targets such as travel speed, reliability, and bus stop amenities, and then finally, outputs. How are we measuring success towards our particular goals for service, such as productivity and coverage? And then next would be the long-range plan. Again, this provides a priority list of items that should be reviewed when CAT has more resources to invest in the network. And those priorities are increasing frequency along transit lines, which, again, we talked a lot about during the CAT Reimagined process, and that's what the community has asked us to do. Also increasing weekend and evening service, and then finally adding more coverage routes. So again, this is the long-range plan, the service standards. Each of you have these documents. Please review them. We're going to probably discuss more of this at our next meeting and have the KTA board vote on these service standards and long-range plan. And again, this is a guide for us to make decisions moving forward. Any questions right now that I can answer about either one of those documents? Again, I know we just gave them to you. We wanted you to review them, so.
Yeah, I have 2 quick questions. I guess the first one is with the long-range plan, what is the hope for, like, how long this would last before it's kind of reassessed? Is it like a 10-year thing, a 20-year thing, a 5-year thing, or do you know yet?
Typically what happens is every year you're evaluating your service, and there's a method through the service standards that we're measuring our current service. But typically every 5 to 8 years is when you do a comprehensive operational analysis. You do a CAT Reimagined planning process. It may be extended further than that because we have set these service standards and we have a long-range plan of, hey, this is how we're going to invest additional resources if we have them. And we kind of have a priority list of that. So it just really depends.
Okay. And then the other thing, is there another document, or are you able to send us information on? I appreciate that you've tiered these, and I definitely like that you're saying, you know, hey, priority is moving from this to this, with increased funding, basically. But is there a way to extrapolate how much funding would be needed? Like, that way we know, okay, well, if we want this route to go from 60 to 30 minutes, is that $200,000? Is it a nickel? You know what I mean? Like is there a way for us to tangibly know how much we need in resources?
It'd be difficult unless we gave you an exact example of saying like Route 22. We know that's our accelerated bus corridor. That project's in the works right now, but we are many years away from that being implemented. We're probably talking about early 2028 before it's implemented. But typically, I will just say in generality, to increase frequency from 60 minutes to 30 minutes, you're doubling the cost of that route. Same thing for 30 minutes to 15 minutes service, you're doubling the cost of that route.
And are you all, are there any documents showing, or do you have any recommendations on how to get extra money for that? You know what I mean? Do you have any recommendations on like grants versus?
We'd have to go for the budget process for the city and ask for those additional funds. Yeah.
All right, cool.
And I think what's going to help staff say, hey, we think we need to increase the frequency is going back to the service standards and how are we measuring productivity in terms of our 30-minute, our 15-minute service, our 60-minute service, to say, hey, we need to increase frequency on these routes to have more ridership. Any other questions?
Can I ask a question? The tiered structure is very helpful. So I see the ABC along the 22 is Tier 1. Is there consideration of other accelerated bus corridors, like along Magnolia or Sutherland? Or?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about this last meeting about we are working with the city engineering department on working on traffic signalization priority for not only Broadway corridor, but also Kingston Pike Sutherland, Chapman Highway, Magnolia, and possibly Central. So all of those we're defining as our major minor corridors right now. We're working on that traffic signal prioritization. That is like the first step. I will also say that all of our corridor routes are also TDOT controlled roads. So there's going to be a lot of partnership and coordination between the city, CAT, and TDOT for all of those corridors. But I know that is something that city engineering is already working on, especially on Chapman Highway, because of the Gay Street Bridge closure. So.
And so that signals, what about lanes?
At this time, I don't believe, even the ABC route that we're working on currently on Broadway, that is a very, very light ABC corridor. And I believe that most of these corridors will probably be ABC light. And that means it's not going to be a dedicated lane for bus transit. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but right now that's what we're working on. So we're going to have to use a shared lane for bus.
Isaac, can you remind me, what is the current time frame for that ABC corridor? Was it 2027?
Yeah, it was 2027. Right now, we're being told 2028.
Okay.
So we're in the NEPA phase right now. All right, the last item I have is just to update the board on service for next week. Obviously, on Thursday, November 28th, Thanksgiving, we will not be operating service. We hope everybody, all of our employees, enjoys time with family and friends. And then on Friday, November 29th, we're providing Sunday service schedule. So just want to update the board on both of those. And then one more thing that I forgot, Chairman Brakewood asked me last month, was our on-time performance. Pre-CAT reimagining, we were around 78%. In the month of September, we were 80.5% on-time performance. October, 81.4%. And through November, we're 83.5%. So I know that Umar, Quentin, and the whole entire planning staff has been working on how do we get that to 90% on-time performance. I think it's an obtainable goal. Some would argue with me about that, but I think it's obtainable. So we're continuing to work on that. Some of the adjustments we proposed to make in January also will help with that on-time performance. So
Isaac, do you have any data on on-time performance compared to like other cities? Like, is 90 the standard, or is that like way better than peer cities?
I can get you some data on that.
Okay, that'd be great.
My standard has always been 90% on-time performance. I know that some agencies are around that 80 to 85% mark. So, yep.
Usually it increases on Saturday and Sunday. Usually those levels are at 90. Yeah, but we're gonna try to get that.
Yep.
We're gonna put our first.
That's all I have for the director's report. Go ahead.
We'll go into TPO report. I don't have a whole lot. I apologize for missing a few meetings, but I should be back and more on a regular basis. Maybe a little bit of tease for 2025. I know I'd mentioned to y'all several times that my office, the Transportation Planning Organization, is required to do a long-range transportation plan. We call it the Mobility Plan 2050. We'll be heading into the home front. It'll probably be wrapped up in April or May, so I'm hoping to bring y'all some more information about some of those recommendations in early 2025. Our organization is also working with the city of Knoxville. The area got an EPA grant on how to reduce greenhouse gases, and it covers the entire MSA. And we've been having some meetings and workshops on that. I know Commissioner Neighbors has participated in some of those. One of the biggest contributors to greenhouse gas is transportation. And so a lot of people have been asking about the opportunity to maybe to expand transit throughout the region. So there's a lot of issues behind that, a lot of costs behind that and stuff, but it is exciting that there's a lot of dialogue going on about that. And I'll be trying to bring y'all some more information about that process in 2025. And then also just Knox Planning, I think we've got a couple projects that we're going to be working on with Kta over in 2025. And so we'll be bringing you more information on that. Some of it does involve looking at the main corridors. So I'm really excited about 2025 and what's on tap for planning and transit. So that's my report. Thank you.
I do have one more thing to add that I forgot to mention. I apologize. And that's just for next month's meeting. We will have a public hearing in regards to Route 1. The changes that we're proposing, it does meet the requirements under our Title VI policy. So we will be having a public hearing regarding Route 1 and then the vote from the KTA board on those route changes for January of 2025. And we've already started, I've already have it on our website now to publicize the public hearing. We're also going to put it on buses to make sure everybody's aware that we're going through this process and that we will be voting, the board will be voting on this. So that's it.
So just to recap, next month, we will vote on the service standards, the long-range plan, and these January service changes. It's going to be a
Correct.
busy meeting.
Yes.
Okay, all right, got it. All right, is there any new business?
There's no new business.
Any old business?
No.
No public comments? All right, then let's go ahead and set the next meeting for December 19th, and we'll go ahead and adjourn today.